Well, so I want to talk about the whole circumcision thing because I didn't know it was like such a big issue. But so I made a decision for my son to get him circumcised. It was something I've always known people to do. I always knew it was a big health issue and stuff like that, but I never knew there was a really big issue about it. That what's the
So
word?
many pros and cons.
That there's so many pros and cons to it. But when I first was gonna start, well, I was in the hospital, and I was like, can a roadrunner get him? Get him! He turned. Sorry.
Roadrunner.
But anyway, so I was in the hospital, and the day he was born, I was like, how do we go about getting him circumcised? Because I've always believed in circumcised, and because circumcision. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. But I didn't know that
They didn't do it in the hospital.
that so many people were against it. Because I grew up my whole life knowing everybody being circumcised. Like, I only knew one person that wasn't circumcised, and that was Steven. And, well, dang, you ran a red light.
Right.
But, so at the hospital, they told me that they don't do it at the hospital anymore. That they do it at the doctor's office. And I was like, oh, okay. So when I went to the doctor, Mom.
Oh, sorry.
So when I went to the doctor's office and was talking to my doctor about it, he says that I need to go talk to this person. He was telling me what they would do and stuff like that, and I was like, okay. So I went and talked to the consultant about it, and she was telling me what they do again, and then she told me that the insurance don't pay for it anymore. And I was like, what do you mean insurance don't pay for it? She's like, well, there's some insurance that still do pay for it, but she's like, but it's a lot of insurance are stopping. They're stopping it because they're now considering it a cosmetic procedure. And I was like, okay, well, how much is it going to cost me? She said it's going to cost you $250. She said it has to be up front. I was like, okay, that's something, like, to me, honestly, it was a health thing. I've always known it to be a health reason to get your son or boys or men circumcised. So I put on Facebook, that I was gonna get him circumcised and everything, and I literally started getting so many hate comments. And at first I was like, honestly, I didn't know what to think. I was speechless, honestly, because I didn't know that so many people were against it. And like, I was even telling my mom, I was, reading the comments to my mom. I was like, Mom, I said, read this. I was like, they're saying that, I'm torturing my son. What else were they saying, Mom?
You name it, they said it.
For real, like they were telling me I was a bad mom for getting my son circumcised. That that was cutting up my.
Cause him trauma for the rest.
Yeah,
of his
I'm gonna
life.
cause him trauma for the rest of my life. That I was cutting up my son's penis and everything, and that I was being an animal towards my son, and all this stuff. And I was like, what in the world? Because I've never heard of anything like this. I always thought everyone was for it because everyone I know is circumcised. And everyone I know is getting their kids circumcised. So when this issue came up, I was like, holy shit, like, I never even knew it. But I went ahead and I got him circumcised because that is something that I do believe in.
Tell them how that came about, because you brought it up to your grandfather.
Who?
Opa. You brought it up to Opa, and he was like,
yeah.
Yes.
So I brought it up to my grandfather, my Opa, which is German for grandpa. And I brought it up to him about it, and I was like, I was telling him, I was like, so many people are against me getting him circumcised. And he was just appalled by that. He was like, no, he's like, that is so many health issues right there that procedure needs to be done. And he literally pulled out his wallet because I told him how much it was going to cost me. I said, even insurance companies don't pay for it anymore. And he was literally shocked. And he literally pulled out his wallet and handed me $260 right there. And was like, no, you get that done. And then, but it was just so crazy. And then, even my mom, so I didn't ask my mom to do this, but she did this. So my mom works at Walmart, okay? She goes to work one day and literally goes around surveying people, pretty much.
Well, I work with all men.
You go tell.
I work with all men, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Mostly all men. All the vendors are men. So every vendor and merchandiser that came in the store in the back room, I'm pretty good friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And so I just asked everybody, are you circumcised? Are your children circumcised? I mean, to me, it wasn't a big issue.
Well, no, you went up to him and asked him if you could ask him a personal question.
Yeah, I did. I asked him, can I ask him a personal question? And everybody was like, sure, you know what? So I asked everybody. And probably out of 20 some odd guys that I asked that day, only one of them was not circumcised, but he did have both of his sons circumcised. Mm-hmm. And he said he was glad he did. And then one said that he was circumcised, but he didn't have his son circumcised because his wife didn't want it done, but that he wished he had.
Yeah.
Anyways. But,
and from what I heard, that those who are not circumcised, they said it's like, what, harder to clean or something, or harder to take care of?
Well, I mean, it takes a little bit more effort, but like
I don't know.
My ex-stepdad, he had to get circumcised in his 40s. Because of health issues.
Who?
Reiner.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He had to have it done in his 40s because of health issues.
That's because Germans don't believe in that, right?
Yeah, in Europe, they don't. None of them are circumcised unless, it is health issue-wise. And, I have literally gotten infected and swollen up to the point where the foreskin was cutting off the circulation. And so they decided to.
See, and I just heard that it contacts more STDs and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know about all of that. I mean, I think that's just, how clean you are. But, I mean,
true.
If you're not a clean person and you're not circumcised, I think your chances of catching an STD or keeping something under that foreskin that's unclean.
Because it's warm and moist.
Yeah, but, I mean, you just, you got to keep it clean. You got to keep it clean regardless. But I don't know. And I also told the guys, from a perspective that I have as a woman, I mean, I only look at it later on in a sexual manner because that's all that pertains to me really, my likes and dislikes with the men that I've been with. And I very much prefer it.
Well, to me, it honestly didn't matter because when I was with Steven, it really didn't matter. All he did was pull it back, and it pretty much stayed back. Mm. But I just didn't know it was such a big issue about it. But I did go ahead and get it done. I left the room. The reason why I left, honestly, I wouldn't have left the room if it was someone else. If it was someone else's child. But the reason why I left the room is because I didn't want to, I didn't want to be in there. I didn't want to see all that, especially with my own kid. But he walked me through what they were going to do, and I seen the little thing they were going to strap him in, and I was like, okay, that's so, they don't hurt him anymore. Like, cut him on his leg or anything, keep him still. I honestly don't see it as torture, but that's just my opinion. And I know everyone's going to have their own opinion. I know I'm probably going to get some hate comments on this, but, it is something that I do believe in. It is something that, I stand by, and it's something that I support. Just like some people support Trump, some people support Hillary, some people support smoking pot, some people don't. Shit like that. I don't know. Anyone's weed heads nowadays. But it was something I got done. And then it literally took no more than 10 minutes. They came and got me. I walked back there. Doctor literally has him in his arms, and he's asleep. Literally asleep. And I'm like, I would be thinking, okay, he should be crying. It's kind of painful. But, you know, they had him on, they put him on numbing, they had,
Numbing salve.
numbing salve on him when I went to change his diaper. She asked for me to change his diaper so she can put the numbing stuff on it. And what are these girls doing?
Mm.
And, told me to wait 5 minutes, and then the doctor would be in, and then he would, you know, explain more and everything. So then, I'm sitting around, and I'm, you know, calming him down, and I pretty much have him asleep now. And then so I give him to the doctor, and then I left the room, and I came back. He's literally asleep, and then when I walked in, this was the gross part. His skin was on the table still. Clean up his skin or anything like that. But the doctor went ahead and he was like, let me show you what I did. And so he pulls his diaper down, and then I see, what was it?
Little bell.
It was like a plastic little cylinder looking thing that he had on it with a string wrapped around it. And what did he say? It was help shape it, or I can't remember.
No, it just keeps the bacteria off of it.
So it keeps the bacteria off of it and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, don't mess with it. He was like, it will fall off on its own in 7 to 10 days. And I was like, okay. And then he showed me, you know, how to clean it, all that good stuff, you know, what to do when he has a dirty diaper and he gets on it, stuff like that. And he was telling me, he was like, you know, I'm telling you right now, he's like, do not mess with it. He was like, I had a patient come in one time that had their son circumcised. He was like that she left and called a couple hours later and saying that it was bleeding. And, you know, I was telling her there's no way it was bleeding, and she said that she had cut the string off, and he was like, well, why would you do that? And so that he said I tell everybody this story. He was like, but I'm telling you right now, don't mess with it, don't cut anything off. He's like, let it fall off on its own, it will. So I think on the 7th day is when it pretty much fell off. The day before, it was kind of hanging off, but I didn't want to like really mess with it or pull it off because I didn't want to like rip any skin or anything off of it. So I just left it alone and just let it hang there. But so that's what happened. Again, that is something that I do believe in. It's something that I do support. But like I said, I didn't know it was a really big issue. But I honestly think for me, the reason why I got it done for Jensen was because of the health. You know, I want him to be able to, what's that word?
The easier it is for him.
Yeah, for it to be easy for him.
It's not going to traumatize him.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Nobody that I talk to has any reminder of anything back in the day.
Right? I mean, you're a week or a couple of days old. Like, you're not. What the hell? Oh, like I don't think it's going to traumatize my child. I really don't. And you know, I think later on in the future,
more beneficial.
It's going to be more beneficial to him. Everyone that's saying, like, oh, your kid's going to grow up hating you for it, I don't think my child's going to hate me for it.
Nobody I talk to hates their mom because they had them circumcised.
Right? Like, they're like, oh, you should wait till your child decides for on your own. No, it is a decision that I make for my child. Like, every mother makes a decision for your child.
You get your children vaccinated.
Yeah,
to make a decision to do that.
I get my child vaccinated, and they're like, oh, you should wait till your child's older and let him choose. No, something as a parent, you have to choose for your child. That's something I chose for my child to do and have done. So, I don't understand why everyone was being so cruel to me about it when it's my child, my choice. Is how I referred it. But so again, that was my take on circumcision and stuff. What was that? Tomatoes in the road?
Tomatoes and green peppers.
So that was my take on circumcision and the reason why I had it done for my child. Again, I didn't know it was such a big issue that is going around with this, but that was just my take on circumcision and how I viewed it. So, yeah, that is it for this video. So, bye!